Okay, so picture this. You're right there, starting line of some big life change. Could be anything, right? A new business, getting fit, learning guitar maybe. And your motivation tank, it's totally full. You set these massive, ambitious goals because you think, well, success has to mean some huge, dramatic leap.
Yeah, like, I'm going to practice 2 hours every single day. Or hit the gym 5 times a week.
Or write, 2,000 words before you even have lunch. Grand stuff.
And then boom, reality check. That initial high, that excitement, it just evaporates like, almost instantly.
Right, and the big plan suddenly feels less like a goal and more like this crushing weight.
Which leads almost always to giving up. And then that awful spiral kicks in where you start blaming yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm lazy. I just don't have the discipline. We've all been there.
It's probably the most common failure loop in, well, trying to improve anything.
But what we're digging into today really challenges that whole idea, that assumption that high effort is the only way to get high results.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into a system that says, look, the problem isn't you, it's not your character, it's the strategy you're using.
Yeah.
We're exploring mini habits.
And it's a fundamentally different approach.
Right.
Because it doesn't bank on motivation, which we know is unreliable.
Right.
Or these exhausting willpower marathons. It flips the script entirely, focusing on consistency.
Consistency through tiny actions, like ridiculously small.
Laughably small actions, yeah. That's the core idea.
Okay, so our mission for you listening in is to really get why those traditional motivation-first methods usually fall flat. We want to explore the psychology behind it, like why big goals actually drain you, and then critically walk through the actual blueprint.
The step-by-step, the 8 steps, the 8 rules you need to implement this.
Yeah, this low-stress path to change that actually sticks. We're trying to take the guesswork out of being consistent and show how these really small inputs can create massive outputs over time.
So let's jump right in. That first burst of energy, motivation. Why is it labeled, a trap?
Okay, wait, a trap. I have to push back slightly there. I mean, if it's a trap, how does anyone ever start anything? Like New Year's resolutions, isn't that initial fire kind of necessary just to get going?
It absolutely is. It's the catalyst, for sure. You need that spark. But that's kind of where its main job ends.
Oh.
If you think motivation is the engine that's going to carry you the whole way, you're going to stall out. It's just too tied to our emotions, our moods.
So it's fleeting, unreliable.
Totally. The way to think about it is like a bonus. It's great when it shows up. A nice boost on a good day.
But it's not the engine itself.
Exactly. Not the main source of momentum. Long-term success, that's all about consistency.
That clicks. Because if your progress depends on always feeling inspired, well, one bad night's sleep, a stressful day at work.
And bam, your progress stops. Because your mood is calling the shots.
So if motivation is off the table as the reliable source, what do we lean on?
Consistency. That's the driver. And the resource we use to get consistent, that's willpower.
Okay, willpower. Inner discipline. Making yourself do it even when you really don't feel like it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But, and this is the crucial part, willpower isn't infinite. It's not this bottomless well we can just keep drawing from.
Right, and this is where the science really backs up the whole mini habits idea, isn't it? That Roy Baumeister study from '96.
Precisely. That experiment is absolutely foundational for understanding self-control. It's pretty famous.
Walk us through it. The setup involved cookies.
Freshly baked chocolate chip cookies, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine the smell filling the room. They brought participants in and split them into 2 groups.
Okay.
Group 1, lucky ducks. They got to eat the cookies.
Nice.
Group 2, not so lucky. This was the test group, the infamous radish group. They were told, resist the cookies. You can only eat these radishes.
Oh, man. That's brutal. Smelling warm cookies and forcing down radishes, that's pure willpower right there. That must take a ton of mental energy.
It absolutely did, and the results showed it. After that initial test, eating cookies versus resisting them, both groups were given a second task.
Which was?
A really tough, frustrating puzzle. It was actually designed to be unsolvable, to test persistence.
Ah, okay. So what happened?
The cookie group, the ones who hadn't needed to exert any willpower resisting temptation, they stuck with that difficult puzzle for way longer.
And the radish group, the ones who'd fought the cookie urge.
They gave up on the puzzle much, much faster. They'd used up their self-control reserves fighting the cookies.
They were mentally drained.
Exactly. The study proves something fundamental. Willpower acts like a limited resource. It gets depleted with use. Just like lifting weights tires out a muscle.
So if you drain that tank resisting something or forcing yourself through one tough task,
You've got less, maybe nothing, left for the next thing.
which means those traditional big goals like I'm going to do 4 hours of deep work right after a draining meeting,
Yeah.
that's basically setting yourself up to fail, isn't it?
It's inherently flawed because you're demanding a huge dose of willpower when your tank is probably already near empty.
And it's not just big acts of self-control that drain it, right? The research points to other things too.
Oh yeah. It gets depleted by tasks that just feel overwhelming. Things that are emotionally draining or just plain unpleasant.
Constantly monitoring yourself, like how you appear to others.
That drains it too. And a big one, decision fatigue. Just making lots of choices.
Even physical stuff, like low blood sugar.
Yep, even that plays a role.
Yeah.
All these things chip away at your willpower reserve.
Let's linger on decision fatigue for a sec, because that feels huge in modern life. We make hundreds of tiny decisions every day.
We really do. What to wear, which route to take, what to eat, which email to answer first.
So if you spend, say, 30 minutes figuring out breakfast, another 20 debating your commute, you've already used a significant chunk of willpower before you even look at your main goal for the day.
Absolutely. Each tiny choice takes a little sliver. Cumulatively, it adds up. By the time you sit down to write that chapter or practice that skill,
You don't lack discipline, you lack fuel.
you've crashed before you even started. Exactly.
So, okay. The goal can't be forcing massive, willpower-guzzling actions. We need to stop thinking our goals require this huge drain.
Right. And the mini habits philosophy. It suggests a much, much wiser way to use that limited willpower.
Which is...
Use it only for tiny, manageable actions.
Oh.
Things that are genuinely hard to say no to. They're so small.
So you still engage the willpower muscle, but just a tiny bit.
Exactly. You activate it daily, strengthening it like any muscle. But you never burn it out with these impossible demands.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And it leads us right into the core strategy. If we're trying to save willpower and ignore flaky motivation, we need an entry point that has basically zero resistance. So what is the definition of a mini habit, specifically?
It's all about intentional simplicity. The action has to be designed to be easy. So easy, so small, that skipping it just feels, well, ridiculous.
Give me the classic examples again.
Reading just one page of a book, doing a single push-up, writing a mere 50 words.
50 words, that feels almost insulting sometimes, doesn't it?
It can, but that's the point. It should feel less like a challenge and more like a tiny courtesy you do for yourself.
And the psychology here is fascinating, how it bypasses that internal resistance. Like, if I decide, okay, I have to run 5 miles today.
Your brain immediately goes on high alert, right?
Totally. It starts flashing warning signals. Sweat, discomfort, huge time commitment, effort. It calculates the cost and starts looking for the emergency exit.
Your brain's trying to protect you from what it perceives as pain or a massive energy drain.
Yeah.
It's a survival instinct, really.
But if the commitment is just put on my running shoes,
No alarm bells, or walk to the end of the driveway, the brain computes the effort for that mini habit as practically zero.
so the action just slips past the defenses, no resistance triggered.
That's its secret weapon. It flies under the radar of your brain's threat detection system.
I like visualizing this with the comfort zone idea. You know, that circle representing what's familiar, safe, predictable in your life.
Yeah, it's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
And all the goals, the growth you want, that stuff lives outside the circle.
And traditional big goals, they demand this huge, terrifying leap way outside the circle.
Right into the unknown, the uncomfortable. And that sudden exposure. It triggers fear, stress, anxiety.
And the powerful urge to scramble back inside the safe zone, which is when we quit.
But mini habits, they don't ask for a leap. They're about taking tiny, almost invisible steps just at the edge of the circle.
So small, the brain barely notices the movement.
Exactly. Because it's so subtle, there's no big stress reaction, no major psychological discomfort.
And that quiet strategy, that's how you actually grow, right?
It's the path to lasting expansion. You repeat these tiny, low-stress actions every day, and slowly, steadily, the comfort zone itself starts to expand.
So what felt scary before, like maybe a 10-minute workout?
Eventually feels normal, easy even, because your consistent small steps have literally rewired your perception of what's comfortable, what's achievable.
You build real momentum, real change, but without the burnout and resistance that kills most big attempts.
It fundamentally shifts the definition of success. It's not about heroic, one-off efforts anymore. It's about quiet, unbreakable consistency.
That's a massive mental shift. Huge. Okay, let's pivot a bit. How does this mini habit system stack up against, standard self-help advice One big difference seems to be this lack of pressure to be amazing right from day one.
Oh, that performance anxiety is such a killer. We tend to jump in and forget we're beginners.
Right. We compare our shaky first steps to someone who's been doing it for years.
Like trying to follow an elite athlete's workout routine on day one of getting fit. It just leads to frustration, exhaustion.
And quitting.
Because it feels impossible.
But the mini habit structure, it kind of removes that anxiety entirely, doesn't it?
Completely. If your only commitment is one single push-up, you can absolutely succeed as a total beginner. 100% success rate right from the start.
And that builds a foundation, like a track record of easy wins.
Which allows for natural, gradual growth without that pressure cooker feeling, without the crash and burn cycle.
And the sustainability aspect, it's crucial when we look at that myth that just won't die. The 21-day habit myth.
Ugh, yes. Everyone repeats it. It takes 21 days to form a habit.
But the actual research, it tells a different story, a much longer one.
Yeah, the data suggests it's closer to 66 days on average.
Yeah.
And even that varies wildly depending on how complex the habit is. Could be shorter, could be much longer.
Okay, so that gap, 21 days versus 66 or more, that explains a lot about why traditional methods fail.
Totally. People go all out, high intensity, push themselves like crazy for those first 3 weeks.
Thinking they just need to grit their teeth until day 21.
And then they burn out. They collapse around day 25 or 30. Right when, according to the science, the habit might have actually started to become automatic if they just kept going gently.
Whereas mini habits, doing one push-up a day, you could sustain that for 66 days, 90 days, a year, no problem.
Easily, without the stress, without the burnout, which gives the habit the actual time it needs to truly embed itself and become automatic.
So beyond just making habits stick, there's another huge psychological win here, something called compounding self-efficacy. Let's unpack that. What is it?
Self-efficacy.
Yeah.
It's basically your belief in your own ability to get things done, to execute tasks, achieve goals. It's your core confidence in your own competence. And when you complete even a tiny task, consistently write those 50 words, read that one page, day after day after day.
You're sending yourself a message.
A powerful one. You're proving to yourself repeatedly, I am the kind of person who follows through. I do what I say I'm going to do.
And that's not just like positive thinking fluff, it's real psychological feedback.
Absolutely. Each tiny success is positive reinforcement. It literally builds your confidence, making you more likely, more able to tackle the next action, maybe even a slightly bigger one next time, as a bonus.
And this confidence boost ties directly into something else mentioned, autonomy, the feeling of being in control.
Yes. The material brings up this workplace insight. A 2012 survey found something like 65% of U.S. and Canadian employees were unhappy at work.
And a big reason why.
Lack of autonomy. Feeling like they had no control, like they were just cogs in a machine, told what to do, how to do it.
And isn't it funny how we often become our own worst bosses when it comes to personal goals?
We totally do. We impose these rigid, demanding schedules, grind, hustle, sacrifice. We turn our dreams into these dreadful obligations.
Creating pressure, killing the joy, making it feel like work in the worst way.
We basically strip away our own autonomy and motivation by acting like tyrannical managers of ourselves.
But many habits seem to respect our natural rhythms more.
Exactly. They don't demand constant, high-level effort. They give the control back to you. The commitment is so laughably low.
You always have the choice. Do a minimum, or maybe do a bit more today if you feel like it.
Precise. That freedom is key. The shift is huge. You go from feeling like you're making progress under duress
to actually enjoying making progress, because it's stress-free, it's easy, and it's completely on your terms.
The mini habit system empowers you by making success so accessible, so frequent, that you genuinely start to want to engage. It fuels that self-efficacy day by day.
Right, so we've got the why. We understand the philosophy of the psychology. Now let's get practical. The actual blueprint. How do you put this into action? There are 8 steps.
8 small steps, yeah. Step 1 is about choosing your focus, but starting broad. Get it all out.
Yeah.
Write down every single habit you'd ideally like to build. No filtering yet.
Just brainstorm everything.
Everything. But then, and this is critical, you have to narrow it down. Choose no more than 4 habits to actively work on at any one time.
Why only 4? Why not tackle more if you're feeling ambitious?
Because trying to juggle 5, 6, 7 mini habits, you reintroduce complexity. You bring back decision fatigue. It starts to feel overwhelming again, which undermines the whole point.
Keep it simple. Got it. So step 2.
Choose your plan. There's some flexibility here. You can start with just a 1-week experiment, like a trial run, to see how it feels.
Low commitment to start.
Exactly. Or you could go for the single mini habit plan, pick just one tiny action and pour all your focus into nailing that consistency.
Or the multi-mini plan.
Right. If you feel ready, you can tackle up to 4 mini habits at once. But there's a crucial, non-negotiable rule here.
Let me guess. Each habit has to be laughably small.
You got it. Absolutely tiny. If writing down the goal causes even a tiny bit of, ooh, do I have to?
Yeah.
Resistance, it's too big. Shrink it down until that feeling disappears completely.
Okay. Step 3, the why and the cues.
Yeah, this connects the tiny action back to your bigger picture. You need to know why you're doing this mini habit. What larger goal or value does it serve?
So why 50 words? Because I want to finish my novel, that kind of thing.
Exactly, that's your why. Then you define your trigger, your cue. This removes the need to decide when to do it each day.
And cues can be time-based.
Like 9 a.m. every morning. Or, often more effective, they can be activity-based.
Meaning?
Linking the new mini habit to something you already do automatically, like do 1 push-up after I brush my teeth.
Ah, so the old habit pulls the new one along. Clever. No extra decision needed.
Precisely. It just becomes part of the existing routine.
Step 4, rewards. This feels kind of basic, but it's listed as essential.
It often gets skipped because people feel it's childish or unnecessary, but from a brain training perspective, it's crucial. The reward creates the positive association. It tells your brain, hey, doing this thing leads to something good.
And the reward doesn't have to be huge, right?
Not at all. It can be internal, just taking a moment to genuinely appreciate yourself for showing up, feeling that little bit of pride.
Or something tangible but small.
Yeah, like watching a funny cat video for 60 seconds, listening to a favorite song, having a piece of dark chocolate. The key is that it has to happen immediately after the habit to forge that connection.
Makes sense. Okay, step 5, track your progress.
Tracking isn't about judgment. It's about visibility and reinforcing consistency. Seeing a chain of successful days is incredibly motivating.
How should you track? Fancy apps needed.
Nope. Keep it simple. A wall calendar with check marks, a whiteboard, a basic spreadsheet, a simple app, whatever works for you. But the timing of when you check it off is important.
Oh, when's the best time?
The suggestion is right before bed,
Why then?
because it ensures you end your day, regardless of whatever else happened, with a concrete win. You check off that box, you feel that success, and you carry that positive feeling into sleep. It reinforces the habit loop powerfully.
I like that. Ending on a high note? Okay, step 6, trust the process. This feels like a big one, especially with the skepticism. How can one push-up possibly help me get strong?
Yeah, this is where you combat that inner critic, that voice screaming, this is pointless, it's too small.
So how do you counter it?
You have to keep reminding yourself. The immediate goal isn't the output, getting strong instantly. The immediate goal is building the habit of showing up, of doing something without resistance.
It's about consistency above all else.
Exactly. And what often happens, maybe not every day, but often, is that once you've done the 1 push-up, you think, well, I'm already down here.
Yeah, might as well do a few more.
Right, momentum kicks in. But the win was already secured with that first tiny action. The consistency is guaranteed because the barrier to starting was removed. Whether you do the minimum or way more is irrelevant to the success of the system itself.
It's like tricking your brain into starting, knowing that starting is often the hardest part.
Precisely. Step 7 is related. Let go of perfection.
Ah, the perfectionism trap.
This system gives you explicit permission to not be perfect, to not always exceed expectations. You have to drop the pressure you put on yourself.
So if you only manage the bare minimum, just the 50 words, just the 1 page, that's still 100% win for the day.
Absolutely. It is the win. Removing that pressure to always overachieve is what creates the space for consistency and even, dare I say it, enjoyment to actually grow.
Okay, and the final step, step 8, watch for transformation. How do you know it's working? When has the mini habit actually become, well, a habit?
You look for the subtle signs. You'll notice you start doing it without really thinking about it. The internal debate, should I, shouldn't I, just disappears.
The resistance is gone.
Completely gone. You just feel confident. Like, of course I'm going to do this. And here's a paradoxical sign.
Yeah.
You might start to feel a little bit bored by it.
Boredom is a sign of success.
In this context, yes. Boredom means it's become routine. It's no longer a challenge requiring conscious effort or willpower. It's just part of who you are and what you do now. It's automatic.
That's fascinating. When the struggle disappears and it becomes mundane,
Yeah.
that's when you know it's truly locked in. It's stopped draining willpower.
Exactly. It's moved from conscious effort to subconscious routine. That's the goal.
Okay, so we have the steps. But knowing the steps isn't always enough, right? We need guardrails to keep us from slipping back into old, high-pressure habits. The framework provides 8 specific rules.
Yeah, 8 rules designed to protect the system, to keep that low-resistance environment intact. Rule 1, never ever cheat the system. If your defined mini habit is read 1 page, you must mentally stick to that as the goal. Don't secretly tell yourself, okay, the goal is 1 page, but I really should read a whole chapter.
Oh, setting a hidden, higher expectation.
Exactly. The second you do that, you reintroduce the pressure. You bring back the potential for failure and stress. Mini habits only work if they remain genuinely pressure-free. The official commitment has to stay tiny.
That feels so weird, though, especially if you're raised on that go big or go home mentality. Why is honoring that tiny minimum so vital, even if you feel like doing more that day?
Because that tiny minimum is your safety net. It guarantees success every single day.
Yeah.
If you mentally raise the bar, you lose that guarantee. On a tough day, tired, sick, stressed, you risk failing to meet that new, higher internal standard.
And that failure crashes your momentum, your self-efficacy.
Right. Sticking religiously to the laughably small goal keeps your confidence high, protects your consistency streak, and preserves the core power of the system, which is reliable forward motion, not intensity.
Right. Okay. Rule 2. Celebrate all progress, no matter how small. This sounds like managing the ego.
It totally is. Your brain, your ego will want to dismiss 1 push-up or 50 words as insignificant. That doesn't count.
You have to actively push back against that voice.
Actively. You need to acknowledge, I showed up, I did the thing I committed to. Every huge achievement starts with that first tiny step. By celebrating the act of starting, the act of showing up, you reinforce the behavior you need for the long haul.
Rule 3 is hammering home a point from the steps. Reward yourself, always.
Yep, making it a rule underlines its importance. It's not optional. That positive feedback loop needs constant reinforcement for the brain to strongly link the habit with positive feelings.
Got it. Rule 4, keep the big picture in mind. Why is this a rule?
Because, let's be honest, repeating the same tiny action day after day will get boring at times. Monotony is inevitable.
You'll start wondering, is this tiny thing actually doing anything?
Exactly. And this rule reminds you, persistence through boredom is often the real difference maker. It's not always about talent, it's about who keeps going when things get tedious. So stay connected to your why, your long-term vision, to push through those monotonous stretches.
Okay, rule 5 feels radical. Shrink it even more if you feel resistance.
This one is incredibly powerful. It's the ultimate safety valve. It makes failure almost literally impossible.
So if even your tiny goal, say, 1 push-up feels like too much one night because you're exhausted or sick, what do?
You shrink it, make it even smaller,
Right.
until it requires absolutely 0 willpower. If 1 push-up is too much, do a half push-up, just the downward motion.
Seriously.
Seriously, if 50 words feels impossible, write 1 sentence. Or just open the document and write the title. The goal is unbroken forward movement. Never allow a 0 day, even if the action you take is microscopically small.
Wow. That takes away so much potential guilt and shame. Normally, missing 1 day feels like failure and often leads to giving up entirely.
Exactly. This rule prevents that downward spiral. Okay, rule 6. Remind yourself how easy it actually is.
Fighting brain exaggeration again.
Totally. Our minds love to catastrophize effort, especially when we're tired. Ugh. Writing 50 words will take forever. This rule says, pause, reframe. Tell yourself, wait, this literally takes less than 60 seconds. It's actually silly not to do it. That dose of reality cuts through the emotional fog.
Rule 7, trust the system. Seems obvious, but
Belief is essential. If you go into this thinking, this is dumb, it'll never work, you're probably setting yourself up to prove yourself right. You have to trust that these consistent tiny steps will compound over time. Focus on the daily motion, the lack of burnout, and let the results take care of themselves.
okay, and the last one, rule 8, focus on repetitions, not results. What does this mean in practice?
It means if your mini habit, let's stick with 1 push-up, starts feeling way too easy and you want more challenge.
Don't change the official mini habit goal.
Correct. Do extra push-ups. Do 10. Do 20. But mentally categorize all that extra work strictly as a bonus. Never, ever permanently raise the official minimum target.
Why is keeping that distinction minimum versus bonus so critical?
Because raising the minimum sacrifices the system's greatest asset, freedom. Freedom from pressure, freedom from failure. If you make 10 push-ups the new minimum, you've just reintroduced the possibility of failing on an off day.
And lost the safety net.
The power lies in guaranteed success, guaranteed consistency via that tiny sacred minimum. Let the bonus reps flow naturally from inspiration and energy, never from obligation.
So by sticking to these 8 rules, you're essentially building a fortress around your mini habit, protecting it from bad days, low motivation, and your own tendencies towards high pressure.
That's a great way to put it. You're ensuring maximum adherence and setting yourself up for genuine long-term success.
So if we pull this all together, synthesize everything we've covered, the core insight seems almost too simple, doesn't it? It does. That huge, lasting change doesn't come from dramatic, unsustainable bursts of action.
Right. It comes from relentless, ruthless consistency and from radically reducing the pressure, not increasing it.
Many habits feel like the missing piece of the puzzle for so many people. They let you start so small that failure becomes, well, almost impossible.
And doing that day after day doesn't just build the habit, it fundamentally shifts your mindset. It compounds that self-efficacy we talked about.
You start seeing yourself differently. Not as someone who tries and fails, but as someone who actually does, someone who shows up.
And you don't need to be a superhero. You don't need endless motivation or iron willpower. You just need to commit to showing up, believing in that small step, and doing that tiny thing every single day.
It really challenges that cultural narrative we're fed, doesn't it? That success must involve grinding, sacrifice, maybe even suffering.
It completely flips it. What if results can actually come more easily, more consistently, through low-stress ease?
So the final thought for you listening, if that old way is flawed, if success can be built on tiny, almost effortless steps, what big, scary, overwhelming goal that you've put off? What daunting objective are you now maybe empowered to break down?
What's the first laughably small action you could take? Maybe even today, before the day is done. Just one tiny step to get started.